To make the best margarita, have to use agave nectar. No questions about it. Well, besides lime juice.
Right.
But agave nectar, 100% is a must.
So today we're going to try 3 different brands of agave nectar to find out if the brand matters. Or can you just pick up what you have at your local store?
So we both really love margaritas when they're made with agave, lime, tequila.
I mean, I don't even think you have to qualify that. I love margaritas.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, like even when you go to the Mexican restaurant, you just order their $4 thing.
Yeah.
It works for the time being. But why don't they use agave nectar? I don't get it.
It's expensive.
But you can sell for a higher price. But, you know, it is what it is. We enjoy them. And so I would say this is our #1 agave nectar that we buy.
That's #1 agave nectar you buy.
I buy. That's true. So I really like the Trace Agave.
Trace Agaves.
Trace Agaves. I really like it. It's high volume. It's only $10 for this big bottle of 750 ml.
It was 11. So my biggest problem with this Trace Agaves is it is very hard to find in our area. Occasionally you can find it at a couple liquor stores or a grocery store. And they do come in, it does come in smaller bottles, but I was running around, I hit 4 different stores and could only find it in one place.
Yeah.
These two are this one is more readily available. I've seen it in a bunch of different places.
Okay.
This Agave is probably the most readily available that I've seen in our area.
Okay, do you remember what you paid for it?
$9.
Okay.
It comes in a bigger container. That one might be $10, but I think it's the same size as this guy here.
Right, okay.
This guy is the Full Circle Market brand. It's kind of the generic of the organic brands.
Right.
From my experience, at least here in Iowa.
Okay.
So this was the same price as this one.
Okay.
Comes a little bit more.
If you don't know why agave nectar is so important in margaritas, is tequila is made out of agave. Yes. So why not use a syrup that's made out of the same plant to help enhance each other? So it's just a match made in heaven, basically.
Right.
Let's go ahead and let's try the one that
you're the most familiar with.
Yep. Trace Agaves Trace
Agaves.
Yeah, Trace Agaves does mix it tequila, which we still have not bought and tried yet.
I feel like this one is the
Here,
most...
I'm going to let you pour your own because it's not like, the viscosity is not like a syrup.
This one is the thinnest of the 3, if I remember correctly.
I think you're right, too.
Oh, no. It's good. It's sweet. What is that note I'm getting at the end? Light molasses flavor?
Yeah, you're right. It's just light molasses. It's sweet. It has a little bit of brightness to it, but nothing it is faint for sure.
Right. I do know a lot of people like to substitute their pancake syrup for the agave syrup.
Yep. There's a little bit more flavor profile than your normal simple syrups.
Right.
All right. Now we're going to do the Full Circle Organic.
Yeah.
So the viscosity is definitely a little bit thicker than that. Yep. Still not like pancake syrup. Well, it depends on what pancake syrup you're buying.
Yeah, that's true.
That stuff is water. Ugh.
The stuff that's made out of corn syrup and not maple.
Yeah. This one just tastes more sugary.
Yeah, this one's sweeter.
There's more brown sugar notes, it seems like in it.
This one has citric acid and filtered water added. Since it says agave syrup, I'm going to assume all of them have water. But this one does include citric acid, as I assume is a preservative or a stabilizer.
This one just says ingredients, organic agave.
Yeah.
That is it.
But, I mean, I would assume it also has to have some sort of water in it.
Some sort of water. Yeah, interesting. I mean, it's fine. I'm not saying it's not bad or anything like that. Like, I don't mind it.
Kind of has the same finish as honey.
It does, yeah. It's
not
in
the flavor, but like the
right, the residual, like kind of like
the notes on your tongue, not necessarily the flavor, the way it
Mojave.
I think the accent is on the A, so or the first A, second A. It's a lot.
So the viscosity of this one is between the other two.
Yeah.
It's not as thin as the Trace Agaves, but it's not as thick as the organic.
Right. And the ingredients on this one also just lists organic blue agave. This is very sweet. There's a lot of sugar.
That's my least favorite of the 3.
Yeah, it's between,
if you take demerara syrup and simple syrup and kind of like divide the two in half. That's what that kind of tastes like.
Yeah, I kind of like it, but I also feel like there's some like erythritol notes.
Yeah.
Erythritol, fake sugar. But I do really like this one. I've used it in coffee, and it's really good in coffee.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, like, just on the spectrum of what we're trying here, these three, this is my least favorite. But still, it's a decent syrup for what you want if you use other alternatives. This
one tastes more like honey than the rest of them. There is definitely a honey flavor there.
Yeah. So now what we're going to do is we're going to make a Margarita Verde. We first tried this when we did our Ancho Reyes Roundup.
Yep.
And they had a recipe on there, and I kind of tweaked it a little less Verde than what they have on their recipe. So we're going to make a Margarita Verde. Riley's going to blind taste test it and see if she can tell the difference. All right, so for this one, we used one of our kind of new favorite Reposado tequilas, Painted Donkey.
Yeah, I don't know. It's new favorite might not be the right word, but we
enjoy it.
It's a good budget tequila.
Right. Let's go ahead and try. And also, we rim the glass with tahini because we love tahini.
Well, and it's a perfect accompaniment to a spicy margarita.
Right. Exactly. So.
Why did I like the tahini? I want as little flavor as possible to get this right. Oh, weird.
That one's like has this like cooling effect. Like.
Yeah, but it also has the big, like, it's very sweet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's definitely a lot sweeter than.
It has the same kind of residual notes that something using honey syrup would have.
That's true. Kind of weird. Like, I mean, not weird in a bad way, just different than.
And right off the bat, I do feel like I get those erythritol notes.
Mm-hmm.
The sugar alcohols. I don't think that necessarily means it's the Mojave, but that's something I'm noting right now.
Okay.
Okay. In both of these, the lime is kind of undercut. Since this is the second video we've done with limes today, maybe it's the limes.
maybe, yeah. But that one, Ancho Reyes, is definitely more undertone.
Yes.
Or, like then.
Yep.
Well, again, what I'm used to drinking when I make these things.
Right. It's still very sweet. And I know that there's sugar in the Ancho Reyes that is contributing to that, but it's a lot sweeter than I'm used to.
Yep, absolutely.
Interesting. Last one. That one is the least sweet.
Yep.
I do think our limes are a little underwhelming.
I think so too.
Because, I mean, most of the time you get a lot more lime flavor.
Yeah.
But
we can't help that.
With that aside, this one has the least residual sweet flavor.
Yeah.
And it also looks a little bit darker than the other one.
Mm-hmm. And the
Whether that means anything.
Right, and the Ancho Reyes comes out a little bit more on this one, I think. Like, we're talking splitting hairs. I think it just comes out a little bit more, has a little bit more depth to it.
Mm-hmm. None of these is very tequila forward like I would have expected.
Right.
But then again, we did use a different type of tequila this time.
We normally use Terramana or Reposado when we make these. But yes, I would 100% say that the Painted Donkey has a different tequila Reposado taste than Terramana.
Yep.
Not saying it's bad, it's just different than what we're used to, especially after trying all three of these.
I feel like I like this one the best because I feel like it has the most flavors. Like this one has bitter notes that kind of make it more of a leveled flavor than a blended flavor or balanced. I feel like this one is the most balanced.
That's my least favorite.
Yeah.
It's just too sweet.
Yeah.
It's just too like buttered cookie kind of
right.
thing going
yeah, butter
on.
cookie is a perfect way to describe that.
It's weird. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. Some people might really like it. It's just not what I expected.
Right. Based on that, that's the Mojave.
Okay.
Because it was the sweetest, it was also the thickest and the syrupiest. And the sugar alcohols, I think I'm going to stick with that after trying all three. The middle one is the Full Circle.
Okay.
Because once again, these two were far sweeter than the Tres Agaves.
Right, makes sense.
And then this being the Tres Agaves. And I do feel like this one was a lot more viscous on the tongue also, which lends to, and it's the spiciest, which citric acid, even though it's just a preservative, it's probably a small amount, would probably play up.
And it could amplify that more, a little bit more. You got one right.
This one?
Nope.
This one?
Nope.
This one?
Yep.
Neat.
So, I mean, it kind of makes sense, right? Because like process of elimination, this one kind of is different than these two, and this one was completely different than those two.
Right.
And then these are so kind of similar in taste, to where it's like kind of hard to really pick out. You're kind of just throwing a dart and hoping.
Right.
I mean, obviously your breakdown is very legit. It's also like
you never know what flavor's going to. And again, Entre Reyes does have added, or is sweet. It does have added sweetener to that as well. So that could play. Those could play with either of these in a different way.
Yeah.
I still think these are good. I feel like if you were going to make them, you could back off of the
syrup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like what were your ratios?
1.5, half, 3/4, 3/4.
Okay, so maybe half.
Yeah, I think
An
so.
ounce, half an ounce of.
I also wonder what would like a little drop of saline solution would do to it too. I think that might help.
Might help, yeah.
Create some sort of like more depth.
But then
to
again,
it.
let's try it with the tahini rim.
Sure. Bonus section.
No, still a little bit too sweet, in my opinion.
Yeah. I actually don't like the tahini with this one.
I think it's just because it's too sweet.
It's too sweet, yeah.
I do still think the drink tastes good. And comparatively speaking, relatively similar. And if you're drinking multiple, then it's not going to be that big of a deal. Like the difference isn't going to be massive. But side by side, these are.
Yeah, the tahini with that one, because the Entre Reyes is more prominent in that one. And it kind of goes with it more.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just like, I think these two need a little work if we're going to use one of these syrups. You know, again,
and I do think it's just probably because it's this is diluted a little bit,
right?
Or at least it admits to being
Admits
diluted on the
with
bottle,
the water
whether or
and
not
stuff.
this
Yeah.
is.
Right, exactly. Definitely try this cocktail. It's one of our favorites that we really like. It just kind of just adds some more brightness to your margarita. You know?
It's like it gives it a little bit of spice.
Not
Necessarily spicy hot, but just like changes it up.
Right. Taste spice, not like holy shit. Yeah, this is definitely a cocktail too where you can batch up, right? If you're gonna have like 4 or 6 people over, just put it in a big batch it up, eat some tacos, and everyone would love you to death if you made these. So go ahead and check out our roundup video where we did Entre Reyes chili and the verde together.
The poblano and the ancho chile.
Yeah, we pulled a recipe from their website
for each one,
and they were both pristine.
Yes, they were very good
because they enhanced the spirit or the liqueur. Is it a spirit or liqueur? Because it is 40%, so it's almost a spirit.
But I think because it is I do think because it does have the sweetener.
Right.
That's
true.
I would consider it more of a liqueur. It is more of a modifier than it is a base.
Yeah, I get that for sure. All right, guys. Thanks for checking in. Cheers.
Cheers.